My name is Leila, a 28-year-old housewife. My husband, Tom, works for a company, and we recently welcomed our long-awaited child, a beautiful baby girl named Elena. Our little family of 3 feels complete. Elena is so adorable that I could spend hours just staring at her. She looks just like you did when you were little, Leila, my mom often says. Seeing Elena brings back so many memories for her. Today, I invited my parents over to meet Elena for the first time. Tom, have your parents met her yet? I asked during breakfast. Tom hesitated before replying. No, they haven't. My parents aren't fond of children. They only had me because of societal expectations, and they made it clear they didn't want more kids. They're not interested in meeting Elena either. When I told them about her, they said not to bring her until she's an adult. Can you believe that? I was stunned. That's hard to imagine. I've met your parents a few times, and they didn't seem like the type. Is it really possible to dislike children so much that they wouldn't want to see their own grandchild? I'll send them a picture, Tom said, sighing. Maybe it'll change their minds. I'll keep trying to convince them to meet her. True to his word, Tom sent his parents a photo of Elena, but their response was lukewarm at best. As the months passed, Tom's efforts to persuade them continued, with little success. It's been almost 10 months since Elena was born, I said one evening. Have your parents changed their minds? Tom shook his head sadly. No, they're still against meeting her. I've tried everything, but they won't reconsider. I feel like a terrible dad for not being able to bring my parents around. I took his hand in mine. Tom, you're not a bad dad. Elena and I see how hard you're trying, and we love you for it. Right, Elena? I smiled at our baby, who was peacefully napping in her crib. Thanks, Leila, he said, his voice soft. I'll keep trying. While I admired Tom's persistence, I was growing tired of trying to cheer him up. If his parents didn't want to meet Elena, I was ready to accept it and move on. But I didn't have the heart to say that out loud, knowing how much it mattered to him. And what if Elena asked one day why she never met her grandparents? How could I explain their indifference to her? As Elena's first birthday approached, something unexpected happened, a phone call from my in-laws. Leila, it's been a while, Tom's mother began. Yes, it has. How are you? I replied cautiously. We're well. How is the baby? She asked. Her sudden interest in Elena caught me off guard. She's doing great, I said. Leila, did we do something to upset you? She asked hesitantly. No, not at all, I replied, confused. Other than not wanting to meet your granddaughter, everything has been fine. Then why haven't you let us meet her? She asked, her voice breaking. If it's hard for you to come here, we can come to you, or we can meet somewhere neutral, like a restaurant. Please, just let us see her, even if it's only once. I was shocked. You're saying, you want to meet her? Of course we do, she said, her voice trembling. Your father and I have been waiting to meet our first grandchild. We'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. Please, Leila. Her words left me speechless. Hadn't Tom told me they didn't want to meet Elena? I explained what Tom had said to me, and my mother-in-law sounded equally surprised. Just then, my mom, who was helping with Elena, overheard the conversation and suggested I hand her the phone. Hello, this is Leila's mom. It's been a while, she said warmly. As the two mothers began talking, Elena started crying. I held her close, my mind spinning with questions. Why had Tom told me they didn't want to meet Elena? And how would this revelation change things for our family? As Elena began to cry, I stepped away to comfort her. When I returned, it seemed like the moms, my mother and mother-in-law, had reached some sort of agreement. They told me they had come up with a plan but insisted I keep it a secret from Tom until everything was carried out. A few days later, on Tom's day off, my parents came over for a small family get-together. Elena just keeps getting cuter, doesn't she? My mom said, smiling as Elena babbled away. She's getting so good at talking too, my dad added. She's so smart, I agreed, holding Elena on my lap. It's hard to believe Tom's parents don't want to meet such an adorable granddaughter. They never liked kids to begin with, my mom replied, but Tom has been working really hard to change their minds. Good for him. Ever since I discovered that Tom had been lying to both me and my parents, I'd started doubting everything he said. It was frustrating, to say the least, but today, it was all going to come to light. The atmosphere seemed cheerful, but I could feel the tension bubbling under the surface. Everyone was nervous, waiting for the big moment. What are we waiting for? Tom asked, oblivious to what was about to happen. Just then, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to see Tom's parents standing there. Mom, Dad, what are you doing here? Tom stammered, his face turning pale. we're here to meet our granddaughter. Of course, his mother said firmly. Hurry and bring her out. But first, we need to wash our hands. Where's the bathroom? Tom looked flustered, clearly caught off guard. For almost a year, he had been lying to everyone, and now his deceit was about to unravel. I decided to play along. When did they change their minds? I asked innocently. They seem really eager to meet her now. Well, yeah, Tom muttered, avoiding eye contact. I've been talking to them, and I finally convinced them to meet her. Nice try, Tom, his mother said sharply, but we know the truth. No matter what excuses you come up with, we're meeting our granddaughter today. After washing their hands, Tom's parents approached me with warm smiles. They were playing their part perfectly, pretending they didn't know the full extent of Tom's deception. I never said you couldn't meet her, I said, feigning confusion. What's going on? Why the sudden visit? What are you talking about? His father interjected. We've been wanting to meet her for so long, isn't that right? At that moment, my parents walked in with Elena, who had been in the other room. There she is, my mother-in-law exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. Oh my goodness, what an adorable angel. Is this really our granddaughter? Elena smiled, giggling as she reached for her grandparents. She's such a sweetheart, I said, handing her to them. I'm glad you finally got to meet her. Now we can all talk. Tom looked cornered. What's going on here? I asked, turning to him. Why did you lie to both sides to keep them from meeting Elena? You owe us all an explanation. It was then that Tom's true motives came to light. He had been worried about the inheritance. As an only child, he had assumed everything would go to him. But after Elena was born, he realized she would have rights to a share. In his desperation to secure it all for himself, he had concocted a plan to prevent his parents from forming a bond with Elena. You've been thinking about inheritance when your parents are still alive? I said, appalled. You kept them from their granddaughter for a year, because of money? That's beyond selfish, Tom stammered. No, it's not like that. I was just following advice from my boss. Enough, his mother interrupted. Thanks to your efforts, we're going straight to a lawyer to make sure everything goes to Elena. While you're at it, I added, don't forget another document you'll need to sign, the divorce papers. Tom froze. Leila, no. Please don't do this. I can't stay married to someone who lies to everyone around him. It's only a matter of time before you try to manipulate Elena too. I'm done. Mom, Dad, Tom pleaded, will you still see Elena if Leila divorces me? Of course, his mother said coldly. We're cutting ties with you, not our granddaughter. You've made your bed, Tom. As I gathered Elena and prepared to leave, Tom's parents reiterated their plans. We'll make sure our estate is handled properly, his father said. And don't worry, Leila. Elena will always have us in her corner. With that, I walked out, leaving behind the home I had shared with Tom. It was no longer a place of trust or love, just a reminder of the lies that had nearly torn our family apart. After deciding to leave Tom behind, I packed up my things and returned to my parents' house. You're welcome to come too, Mom and Dad, I told them. We're getting everything ready to celebrate Elena's birthday there. Tom, left alone, pleaded desperately, wait. Don't leave me here by myself, but his cries fell on deaf ears as we headed to my parents' place. Shortly after, I finalized the divorce and secured full custody of Elena, along with child support. Tom didn't take it well. Angry at his boss for planting selfish ideas in his head, he caused trouble at work, which eventually led to him losing his job. He struggled to manage housework and daily life, often turning to his parents for help. However, they completely ignored his pleas, fed up with his behavior. I've heard they're even planning to sell their home and move far away, ensuring Tom won't find them. Back at my parents' house, I've been raising Elena with their unwavering support. I managed to land a full-time job, and life has been looking up. Today is Elena's second birthday, and we're throwing a party to celebrate this precious milestone. As friends and family gathered, I stood up to make a toast. Thank you all for coming to celebrate with us today. If I may, I'd like to propose a toast. Everyone raised their glasses. Cheers, Elena beamed and, in her tiny voice, joined in. Cheers, wait, one of my relatives said with a laugh. She's only 2, right? I've never seen a 2-year-old say something like that so confidently. Neither have I, added another. Elena loves saying cheers, my mom chimed in. She practiced with Leila yesterday and did great. Surrounded by love, Elena is growing into a bright, happy little girl, a true treasure to everyone around her. As I reflect on how far we've come, I feel nothing but gratitude for the love and support that surrounds us. The future feels full of possibilities, and I'm excited to see what's next in our journey. I arrived home, greeted by warmth and celebration. Welcome back. Jel will be bringing her fiancé soon, my mom said. Jel is getting married? I said, still processing the news. It doesn't feel real. That day, my sister Jel came home to announce her engagement. I also decided to visit my parents, eager to share my own exciting news. Jel's getting married, and now I'm going to be a mom too. So many happy events. I exclaimed. It's been such a whirlwind, Jel said. By the way, I heard you left your new job. Was something wrong? It's a long story, I admitted. I didn't want to worry you, and I thought everything was resolved once I married Peter. Jel's fiancé, Josh, entered the room. Hi, I'm Josh, Jel's fiancé, he introduced himself. Nice to meet you, I said, smiling. Oh, you're Josh? You're younger than I expected. Don't be so nervous, everything's going to be fine. Despite my reassurances, Josh seemed uneasy. When's the wedding? I asked. Well, we haven't set a date yet, Jel replied. We need to coordinate it with your due date, now that we know you're pregnant. Josh's face turned even paler. Oh, I didn't realize, he stammered. Congratulations. Something about Josh's nervous demeanor unsettled me. He reminded me of someone from my past, though I couldn't place it immediately. The wedding day. The day of Jel's wedding arrived, filled with joy for some and anxiety for me. As I got up to use the restroom, supporting my heavy belly, my phone rang. Hello? I answered. The voice on the other end sent chills down my spine. Have you forgotten the name of the man you betrayed? John hissed. You and your unborn child should just disappear, you con artist. Before I could respond, I felt a violent shove from behind. I barely managed to grab the handrail, avoiding a fall down the stairs. I spun around to see Jel's future mother-in-law glaring at me. You've trampled on Josh's feelings, and you won't get away with it, she shouted, lunging at me again. Stop. Peter, my husband, appeared and restrained her. As chaos erupted, John emerged from the shadows. So, you're still alive, he sneered. You think you can cover your tracks by marrying that thug and having his kid? I'll make sure neither of you survives. John picked up an ashtray and aimed it at me, but Peter swiftly disarmed him, pinning him to the ground. The wedding descended into turmoil. An emergency meeting was called, where John, his mother, Josh, and our families gathered in a tense room. I'm so sorry, Josh began, his voice trembling. But John slammed his fist on the table. Why are you apologizing? The one at fault here is her. He pointed at me, spouting delusional accusations. You promised to marry me, John ranted, but instead, you betrayed me and got pregnant by that thug. Peter calmly replied, enough. Your lies won't hold up. We have proof of your attempted murder. What proof? John scoffed. Jel stepped forward, holding a camera. Actually, we recorded everything. This footage shows your mother pushing Emma down the stairs. John and his mother went pale. We've already called the police, Peter added. Aftermath. John and his mother were arrested and later faced charges for attempted murder. Josh, who had been manipulated by his family for years, cut ties with them. He later visited us, tearfully apologizing for their actions. Meanwhile, Jel and I moved forward with our lives. I gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and Jel remained optimistic about her future. Though the ordeal left scars, our family grew stronger, united by love and resilience.